And the person I'm going to be introducing for training is a brand new regional director. I am excited to hear his training. The reason why is because he is somebody that all of us have worked with in the business for some time. He's become a friend to many of us in this business, including myself. And it's been awesome watching him the last 3 to 4 months of his business flourish and grow and blow his business up in a big way. That month when he promoted to regional director was a big push for him. And I can say, standing from the outside in and watching him execute on his goal was exciting. You know, as leaders in his upline, we were ready and willing to help anytime that he needed it. But to watch him set the goal, execute on the goal and his plan, readjust, and hit that goal in the final moments is something that you always remember. And I remember the first time I did that too. So what I asked Mike to do is to walk all of us through that last month. And Mike, I'd appreciate maybe if you'd start off and kind of describe the 2 to 3 months before, you know, when you set that goal to go on the Banff trip and promote to RD, when you set it, and then maybe just from the outside looking in, how that looked, you feel from the outside looking in and final moments, and then maybe you could go into how you actually accomplished that.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep this really, I just want to have a conversation. Obviously, we don't have a lot of time, so Dom and Jack are gonna have to rein me in here because I'll probably just keep talking and babbling, and yeah, Dom, jump in. You want to ask questions, whatever. We'll just keep this dynamic. But um, my goal here, I mean, I just want to start by, before I talk about the push to RD, I just want to give everyone a little bit of background because we have a lot of new people on the call. A lot of, people have been in the business for maybe 6 months, 3 months, 2 months, 1 month. Yeah, I just want to give you like a little story, just where I've been, where I've come from. So I've been a part of ACN for over 10 years now. Joined ACN 11 years ago, actually. And, it's been a journey. And one of the things with promoting to regional director, when I joined ACN and when I joined this industry, even prior to ACN, I was 19 years old when I joined, right out of high school. And I'm an introvert. I didn't like talking, public speaking. I didn't like going out and approaching people. I had a lot of growing to do. And that's kind of the first little tip I just want to leave people with is that you have to grow into leadership. You have to grow into your promotion. Some people that might join this business, they might already have been done a bunch of that growing, right? Personal development for me, this is again, this is my story, right? I had to grow a lot to become a leader, right? And that came from plugging into training, showing up to events. One of the things that I knew was um, surrounding myself with successful people would lead to success just by diffusion, by percolation, right? And so that was one of the things I did. I remember a long time ago when I started in this industry, just Tim and Sharon and Dom and Jordan. I was like, I need to spend more time with those people because they're successful. And so that's what's amazing about this team that we have is that there are so many ways that we can interact and we can plug in. We have our team chat, we have these Zoom meetings, we do in-person events, and you can surround yourself with successful people. I look back on my journey in this industry and becoming the person that I am today, uh, and it's completely different. I'm a totally different person, and I always say this too: is that the personal development and the personal growth that you will undergo in this business and in this industry, um, it will benefit all areas of your life. I would not be in the position that I'm in my career, in my engineering career, without the growth and the personal development that I've done. So that's the first point: is that you have to really grow into leadership and a promotion, and you got to take that seriously, the personal development side of things as well. So the other thing too is how you measure success that I just wanted to touch on. So I actually one of my mentors, Darren Hardy, he talked about this on one of the Darren dailies this week. So he's got these little 5-minute messages that he does every day. I watch him every morning, and he talked about the staircase of success. And so this kind of talks about the journey too. And basically, we're all on our own staircase, and there's a few things that you need to understand about the staircase of success because when you look at that staircase, don't make the mistake of always looking up and not looking back down again and seeing how far you've come. Because as you climb that journey, that staircase is actually infinite. There is no destination, there is no arriving at a goal. So although I've hit regional director, although I've set a goal, it's just one more step on the staircase. And so you need to be able to understand that it's infinite. It's also one of the things he said, it's like running after the horizon. The harder you run, the faster you run towards the horizon, the more it's going to move, right? And so that is where you're always going to have goals. You're always going to be setting things, and that's what's going to lead you to growing, right? And so the focus should be on growth. The staircase is actually a growth journey. And so this just ties back into it again, is that you need to grow into leadership. And so all of this, like, with my story, I've been in the business, like I said, for over 10 years. And, here I am. Now I'm a regional director, right? And so one of the things I want to say to some of the people that have been around for a little while, right? At any point in your journey, just remember the growth that you've been through, and look back at what you've accomplished. And one of the things I love about ACN is that at any point you can just turn it on, right? You might have had periods of time where you haven't done anything. Maybe life's gotten in the way. Maybe life's hit you hard. That's happened for me multiple times. Life has hit me hard and taken me out of the game. But one of the things I knew is I would never quit, right? I never quit this business. I never stopped, at least, plugging in a little bit in those times, right? And that's a great thing. And so for some of you that are newer, know this too, that like ACN is a solid business. It's been around for over 30 years. I never had a doubt that, you know, I always knew that it was me that might be holding myself back from growing and achieving and hitting a goal. But I also knew that at any point I could just turn it on. And there's proof because we have plenty of people, plenty of like I love it. I love to see on our team how many people in the last 6 months to a year have come in and are completely rocking this business. And some of that's timing, and some of that's maybe they're at a different stage in their growth journey. Maybe they've already gone through some of the lessons and the battles and the things that they need to develop in other areas of their life, and it's prepared them to be successful in this business. Or maybe they're just coachable and they follow the system. And maybe I just wasn't coachable enough for half the time and not following the system, right? Um, there's plenty of reasons for that, but for people that have been in ACN for a while, the veterans, just know that you can turn it on at any point, right? You can treat this as if you're brand new, but now you've looked back on that staircase and know all the things that you've done, all the things that you've accomplished to get to where you are, the foundation that you've laid. And so that kind of just brings me into the more recent, well, actually, before I get to the more recent, there's one other thing I just want to touch on, because when we joined this business, I remember one of the things that's always stuck with me from Simon Aboud, who is senior vice president. He's now the Canadian ambassador for ACN. He was one of the first mentors that our team had when we joined ACN, and he always said longevity equals credibility. And that has always stuck with me. And the longer I've been in this business, not only have I remembered it and said, the longer I stay in, the more credible I am. I've actually witnessed it, because there might have been a time when I thought, oh man, I've been in this business for 10 years and I haven't hit the top positions yet, and I haven't achieved all the goals that I had hoped I would hit, right? But at the same time, now when I sit down with someone and they say, well, how long have you been doing this for? And I say, over 10 years. And they go, oh, okay, that's good. That obviously there's a reason you've been doing it for 10 years, right? That's credibility. And not only is it credibility for myself, but it's credibility for the company. It's not just ACN's been around for 30 years and I've been doing this for 30 minutes. I've been doing this for 10 years, and I mean, if the person knows me, then they probably know that I wouldn't be doing something that doesn't make sense for 10 years, right? So longevity equals credibility. And so the longer you stick with this business, whether you're having amazing success or maybe you're on the slower staircase, right? Maybe you got the super speed escalator, or maybe you're slogging up the hill, right? At any point that can change, but just know that that longevity, it equals credibility. And so getting to more recent stuff and give you guys some practical tips and how the kind of promotion went and everything like that. So um, at the end of last year, the timing was obviously becoming very good. Zoom, through the latter half of last year, through most of last year, Zoom Energy has been amazing for us. And so that's been great. And then we announced that we're launching with TELUS. We knew that was coming. And one of the things that I realized is that there's timing. And if you're prepared for it because you've been growing, and you take advantage of that timing, you can get a much better return on your effort. And that's the way I looked at this. I said, I need to hunker down. I need to make the decision. And it starts with a decision that I'm going to do what it takes to hit regional director. And I knew that it would be easier, quote unquote, with better timing, which is what we have right now. Everybody has that timing. So I made the decision at the end of the last year, and at that point in time, I didn't even have 200 personal customer points. I think I was somewhere between 150 and 200 at that point, and I was still well over 100 points away from hitting regional director team wise. And I've got one awesome team. For some of you know that, some of you don't, but we've got one awesome team. But I needed to go out there and do the work. And this is one of the things I love about ACN is that if you don't do the work, you're not going to get rewarded for just sitting back and signing up one person, right? And I actually I love that about ACN is that the people that you bring in on your team, they can do more than you, they can do better than you, they can go out and surpass you. And so people never have to feel like, well, it's the person at the top that makes all the money. I am living proof that that is not true because I have multiple regional directors and a regional vice president on my team while I was still a regional coordinator. And again, I that's amazing. That is a great business model. So know that um, that's just a great part of ACN. And so I had to make a decision. I knew TELUS was launching. I set that goal. They put the Banff trip in place, and that was enough motivation for me. I was like, I need to hit regional director before the qualifications for the Banff trip, which was March 30th, and started pushing. And so I've been in this business for 10 years. I've talked to a lot of people about this, but what was great is that I could go back to people, right? That's another little tip I want to leave with you. If you've been in this business for a while, you can always go back to people. And I had people that I went back to and said, "Hey, I talked to you about this a couple of years ago. Can you do me a favor? Can you help me out? I'm trying to hit this promotion. Maybe try some of the services, right?" And Zoom Energy was a big thing that I focused on, and with the TELUS launch coming in, was talking about that too. And so, you know, the fundamentals that we train on Saturdays, you make a list and then you talk to people. And I talked to probably, I don't know, over 100, maybe close to 200 people over the last 3 months. And I've been in this business for a while. So anybody can go on and do that, right? And so, yeah, over the last 3 months, just worked really hard. Had to make some sacrifices, get some buy-in from my wife, who's been amazing. Donna's been amazing. She's super busy. She's doing a master's right now, but we decided, together, she said, you got to hit this. And so, she was pitching in so that I could spend more time building this. And so making that decision, working hard and making it non-negotiable, is really important when you set a goal. And so you got that target, you've got that goal. You have to decide what you're willing to sacrifice when you set a goal, um, and then just work hard, right? Follow up. There's some practical tips I'll leave too, but maybe I'll just take a breath and I don't know, Dom, if you want to jump in with a specific question or something, and then
Yeah,
I'll touch on a
I
couple
think I
practical
think what
things.
would be really well is really great is what you experience that final 30 days is what so many people experience. But what happens to some people is they quit on the goal. And if you can describe how close it came down to the last minute, I remember some of the texts that you had between Jordan and I and Tim and Sharon. And there was a little bit of frustration there. You talked to us about everything that you could have done, and how close it came down to the last minute. And I can tell you in this industry, I've seen so many people in that exact same position. Yeah, but a different outcome because instead of pushing that last 4 days of the month, they said, "Oh, it's obviously never going to happen," and they missed it. So maybe you could walk through with us how that felt and how close you were and how hard you had to push and how hard that push felt.
Yeah, yeah. It's that whole like 3 feet from gold idea, right? Like, you don't know how close you are to hitting it, and you could be this close and you quit, and you don't want to give up, right? You want to push to the last minute. So yeah, that last 30 days, like I had a lot of irons in the fire, talking to a lot of people. And like, full transparency, I wasn't, I'm more comfortable with customer gathering, and we have a lot of amazing customer gatherers on our team. And so that's what I was focused on, was going out and getting customers myself, to hit this goal. And so I had talked to a lot of people. I've got, like almost 300 points now. And a big part of that 100 points over the last 3 months came from the last 3 months. But in the last 60, or in the last 30 days, I put in 60 points, to hit the goal. And in the last 24 hours, I put in 26 points. And that came from all the work that I had done, all the consistency. So one of the things I did, starting in February, is I started just consistently. I needed to talk to 3 people every day, every day, every day, every day. 3 people, 3 people. I was tracking it. I was following up with people, and this was going back and using favor, help, try. I'm not going to get into that. You can see that on the app, or Saturday training, but following the system of customer gathering. And so yeah, it was touch and go coming to the end of the month. I had some customers, but I had a whole bunch of people. I had reviewed their bills. Things look good for them. I had people that I could literally save them money, and it was just like God was testing me, right? It was like, I could save them money. I did everything right. I know like the system, and yet people are just people, and some people are just weird, right? And they were like, "Oh no, that's okay. I'm just gonna stay where I am." Like, favor, help, try. I'm trying to hit a promotion. Like, really use your help, all that stuff, right? And so those things can be discouraging, right? But I kept going. I kept pushing, and so the last like few days was crazy, because as it came down to it, I was talking to like 10 people a day, 15 people a day. Like I was just and it's not all like brand new people, right? This is following up with people that didn't answer. Follow up is so important. And so all of the work that I had put in, it all came together at the last day. I had set a goal of the Wednesday at the end, before the end of the month, to hit the promotion, because going into the long weekend, you got the purge, like all those things. I didn't want to leave it up to chance that I wasn't going to hit RD. So it was like the Wednesday was the last day. And I think I had 8 different people that I was like, man, they could be a customer, they could convert, and it could all go together, or like it could go sideways. And when I woke up that last day, messages started coming in, people started getting back to me. And by the evening, I had 6 meetings back to back to back to back to back. All of them signed up, gas and electric, and then I think one of them ended up being extra, so I actually, exceeded it by 5 points. And then in the last couple of days of the month, a few more customers came in, so I well surpassed the goal of hitting it. But yeah, it was, you have to push the last minute, and it's a product of a few things, but consistency is a big thing. Consistency for 3 months, I was consistent in talking to people. Follow up, follow up is so important, because you got to understand that when you ask somebody and they say, "Yeah, sure, I'll help you out," and they don't hear back from them or whatever, most of the time it's just life getting in the way for them, right? You need to follow up, right? Be shameless about it. Don't be weird, but follow up, right? And asking for referrals. That's a huge thing. And the only way you can ask for referrals is if you treat your customers really well. And that's something I have focused on over the years, is taking very good care of my customers. And that's like a whole nother training in itself that I could probably do. But take really good care of your customers, and it's easy to ask them for referrals. And a lot of the customers that I brought in over the last 3 months, they were referrals. In fact, most of the customers I brought in for the last year have been through referrals. um, and so this push, I wasn't just going back and talking to new people, or people I hadn't talked to, or people I showed the business for a long time. I was actually going every single month. I'll go to my customers and say, "Hey, here's the rates. If you know anybody that's complaining about their energy bill, send them my way," right? And lots of referrals that way. So yeah, so it was a journey. It was a roller coaster, and then that last minute, it all came together, and it's worth it. All of the sacrifice, all of the hard work. It was totally worth it to hit that. And also needing to remember that it's a stage on the staircase though, right? So enjoy the moment, but don't get too caught up in it either. So